Hey guys, welcome back to Dawn Investments. Today's video is just going to be a couple stocks highlighting some nice plays for the second week of March. I'm going to quickly go over it so I can get it out to you guys so you can have some stuff to add to your watch list if you don't have them already in. And if you have any questions, you can always message me on our Discord where the link is going to be in the description. If anything, it seems confusing or you don't get a certain aspect. We're getting right into the video. The first stock I wanted to go over was Snapchat. Snapchat, just wanted to point out a technical pattern that I see on the 4-hour 180-day chart. It's bounced off a slight support, and bounced off the 200-day EMA, and it's been trending up for the past couple of days. I have an alert set above 1850, which seems to be a resistance point for Snapchat. And if it breaks that, it has a lot of room to run around 8% or more. And if it goes back to $22, it's around 16%. So definitely watch out for Snapchat. Looks like it's trending up right now, and this little channel is forming, which is definitely a good sign for uptrend. But for things like Snapchat, definitely keep updated with its news and PR, as that can definitely drastically affect the price. But definitely keep an eye out for Snapchat and wait and set an alert for 1850, as if it breaks this, it has a lot of room to run. Next, I want to quickly go over gold ETFs and gold futures. Looking on /GC, this is the gold futures chart. As you can see from a technical standpoint, it seems to have been trending down. The EMAs are starting to cross over and downtrend. And as you guys can see here, it's starting to form lower lows, which can continue on, which is not guaranteed, but it can continue on to continue forming that trend of a downtrend. So in terms of gold and its ETFs and stocks relating to gold, I definitely would say that you should watch out for gold as it may be trending down. But once it hits the 1300 or 1305 mark, it definitely can reverse. Today, JDST hit a predicted point of around 60, that which we predicted in our Discord. It actually hit 60.05 and downtrended, because that's another resistance on /GC. But overall, looks like GC might be trending down for some time before it hits a resistance, a support, and then from there it can trend back up. And it trending up will be good for JNUG, as you guys can see here. JNUG matches perfectly with the gold futures, so watch out for JNUG as GC trends up, but then watch out for JDST as GC trends down. So right now, overall, it does seem that GC will be trending down, so definitely keep an eye out for JDST. But please keep in mind the intraday resistance points that GC faces, and because of that, it can have a lot of benefits to day trade JDST and JNUG. For example, JDST today went up to 16 and came back down, leading to a pretty good day trade for JNUG. But if you would have gotten to JDST on Friday, as we called it out last week when it hit this support point, you would have made a nice around 8% return before it started to sell off at the 60 price point. But overall, in relation to gold futures and these gold ETFs, I definitely think you should keep an eye out for JDST. And looking at the patterns here, this is another one that has a pretty solid pattern. It trends up to around 60, then comes back down. Looks like it's going back down. And once it starts making an upward trend, it has a lot of room to grow before it hits $60 again. And once it breaks 60, you guys can set an alert from there. Maybe around here, I have an alert set for 60.50. Once it breaks that point, it has room to grow from around 5% to all the way to 15%. So definitely keep an eye out for JDST and based on /GC. And in the meantime, if you don't feel comfortable swinging either JNUG or JDST, which I wouldn't highly recommend, especially at this point in time, then both of these options, JDST and JNUG, will be pretty good options for day trades. You can base this on just looking at the past charts for the previous couple of days. In one day, on Friday, went up 5% JNUG, and now today went up another around 5%. And trading these correctly based on price predictions and price points that we point out in our Discord, you could make pretty consistent profits on a day-to-day. The next stock I was Tesla that I want to go over, and this one I was actually asked about. Overall, on the 180-day chart, I mentioned in a previous video in our Discord that Tesla is going to hit this resistance point, this support point, and then from there it can trend all the way back down to 300, and 300 will be the best entry point for this stock, and then for it to trend back up, but actually hit this support point at 323, and in these just very recently it trended up around 7%, and it has some room to grow to around 11% to around 360. I wouldn't recommend trading it now because the opportunity cost for me personally would be too great. Of course, you can determine your own risk level based on how you want to trade. But from here, if you looking at basing things off from a technical standpoint, you have around 3% room for growth until there's a possible drop, and around 7% room for loss. So I would definitely wait for Tesla. If you plan on getting into this, I'll wait for it to trend back down to at least 323, and in the best case scenario to around 305, 300, the 300 price mark. And the next stock I wanted to go over was DVN. This one I wanted to call this out because it is at a support and it looks like it's reversing. It has a lot of room to grow back to its previous price point, which is around 40% away. The EMAs are starting to cross over. It bounced. It had this slight double bottom here at $30, and now it's bouncing back up. Intraday, it didn't have the best day, but overall, it still had an overall uptrend on the day. So I definitely don't think this is downtrending right now. And to its next resistance around 36, it's around 10%. So this is definitely something that I believe is worth a swing trade if you're interested. Of course, pay attention to the news and everything like that for stocks like this, because any type of negative PR can bring this back down. So enter this with a stop loss, a reasonable one, and from there you can make a pretty profitable trade. And in the same kind of realm, I want to go over WTW. This is the same kind of situation where it bounced off a support and it's now uptrending. It has a lot of room to grow, and it even been trending up today as well. It has around 18% left if you're interested in trading this. And intraday, it moves overall just around 2%. But for stocks like this, I would always recommend don't look at these for day trades, but more so swings, because overall as a swing, it has a lot of room to grow. So make sure you enter this with that in mind, stop loss in order, and you're managing your risk correctly. And of course, just like with the other ones, make sure you do your own due diligence in terms of what's going on with the company and things like that. But overall, the EMA is starting to trend back up, and from a technical standpoint, this wouldn't be a bad swing trade. Next, I want to go over XXII. I've went over this one in the past, but as for this one, I don't recommend trading it right now, just because the chart and the patterns of it is not certain, but it has a lot of room to grow from where it is right now. And once it starts trending up, I would definitely think this is a solid trade. It hit this support twice around 230, and it's currently trending up around 20% away from that price point. But once it breaks this resistance around maybe $3 or that 295 mark, it has a lot of room to grow, and I would definitely keep this on watch and have a couple of alert sets. Next, something I caught up for last week. This is a situation where stock bounced off a support. We called it out, and it's been trending up pretty steadily. Again, with stuff like this is better as a swing trade, because overall in the day trade realm, it doesn't probably move. Overall, this is better as a swing trade because as a day trade, this probably may not move like how you would want it to move, maybe just 1 or 2%. But as a swing trade, it has a lot of room to grow from here, which is around 13%, which will qualify this as a pretty solid swing trade if you're interested in this stock. And for the last two stocks I want to go over, the first one is an oil-based ETF. This one, GUSH, this is one that we call out pretty often. It's forming an uptrend and ascending pattern. It's bouncing off this trend line right here that's currently going up. It's breaking this resistance, and if it breaks this price point right here, which I have an alert set for, it has a lot of room to grow. So I'll definitely keep this on high alert. Its next resistance after it breaks this point would be around $25 at this 200 EMA, 200-day EMA, and from there it has a lot of potential to grow to around 37. Of course, that will take some time and definitely not a day trade, but this has a lot of potential. And overall, it's been trending up reasonably, and this is definitely something that I will consider getting into, especially at this point in time where the price isn't, where the price is still pretty affordable. As you guys can see, it hit a support here at 17, hit the resistance at 22, came back down to this trend line, and hit this resistance at 23, this 24 resistance, and is nearing this resistance. So once it breaks $24, I'll definitely have this on high alert, high watch, as this can definitely start showing pretty positive signs of an uptrend. It's forming higher lows and the EMA is crossing over, which is all positive signs for a chart. So definitely keep this one on your watch list, and that's GUSH. The last one I wanted to go over was another ETF, UGAZ, that's based on natural gas. This is another one that I've been calling out for a while, actually since around $53. I've been calling it out. It's been trending up pretty calmly, pretty steadily, and it's forming a pretty good pattern. From here, it's been trending up and it has a lot of room to grow, around 40%. At this point right here, it's near a resistance, so it could trend down a bit, but overall it shouldn't go back down too much. And once it breaks this point, it should have there shouldn't be too much obstacles for it to reach a good price point. Overall today, even as a day trade, it went up significantly. So either as a day trader or swing trade, I would definitely recommend keeping a close eye on you guys, but more so as a swing trade, has a lot of room to grow. It's right at its 200-day EMA. So once it breaks this next resistance will be at the 100-day SMA that I have, and from there it should reach a pretty favorable price point. And another one, just as a bonus, I wanted to go over was INSG. This one we talk about on Discord, so message me about it. For INSG, this one has a lot of good PR if you guys want to go into research about the company. But from a technical standpoint, it's been trending up. But right now, it's at a resistance around 230. I'll wait for it to come back down before buying in, maybe around $2 or even better around maybe like 170. But at $2, definitely this would be a good entry point for it to start trending back up. Because right now it's at a resistance, so I wouldn't recommend trading this unless it broke it. So I'll set an alert here above its high at 233, and from there, if it breaks that, then it'll give me the alert to maybe possibly take a position. But right now, I don't have a position in this. I will definitely wait for this to come back down before buying in. And overall, that's really it for the video. If you have any questions, just let me know. Or have any links for everything will be in the description. And our free Discord link will be in the description as well. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Good luck trading.